go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, February 26, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market, taking a peek over there at the United States stock market, which is set to open up in the next 3 minutes, along with looking over there at precious metals like gold and the US dollar currency index, or the DXY. Lastly, we'll wrap it up with taking a look at over there at any type of financial news that is starting our week off and any type of crypto news that may seem relevant or important. And then, of course, we'll hop into the chat and goof off for the remainder of it afterwards. But let's go ahead and take a look at what has been going on throughout the crypto market over the weekend. Bitcoin still stuck underneath the 702 Fibonacci retracement. I think today is day 12. It could be day 13, but I think it's day 12 that we've been stuck here under the 702. Of course, the internet an absolute buzz. Blockchain backer knows nothing. A year and a half for us to get back here. You would expect that to happen on Twitter, for everybody to flip-flop like a fish, and now they're all bullish here. I posted over there on Twitter, the big element, of course, missing out there for Bitcoin to go into a bull run is expansion over there in the stock market, and that we're not seeing expansion. So I'll be elaborating that on this week's newsletter as well. But, you know, here we are, Bitcoin sitting here for the 12th day underneath the 702 Fibonacci retracement, as retail is absolutely gigalong all together on Bitcoin here. So the excitement, of course, if you've been looking out there on Twitter, is everybody is hooting and hollering about whatever random altcoin that they have in their bag that has been moving. In the XRP community, of course, that one has been Flare. So I've seen a lot of Flare posts over there because Flare's been ripping for just with the rest of the market, right? Like it bottomed out there and made this big reversal back in October for Flare. That's what we've seen really throughout the whole altcoin market. And I posted something like that over there on Twitter throughout the weekend, that when you're looking at development activity coins, when you're looking at user activity level coins, those have all just been ripping since October. And while the story has sat here and been Bitcoin, it's actually Bitcoin's in the bottom tier of all those user activity levels and all those development activity level coins, percentage wise, ever since we got through that level that I always deemed would be that moment where it felt like the weight has been lifted off of people's shoulders, right? We still experience that all throughout here. People were feeling like, there's this chance we're going to 12K. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Once we get through here, remember I was reading all the stuff about like my emotional log from 2018 and 19, that once we would get through here, it'd feel like the weight of the world was off of our shoulders. And sure enough, when we get out, what ends up happening, you see the altcoins really start to rip beyond, right? In general, right? Especially the user activity level coins and the development activity coins. But Bitcoin's still just stuck right in here. So, of course, I've spent time trying to figure out what do I think this is going to play out like, because it's not like a standard ABC in here. And the one thing that is missing, of course, in there is we were $50 short of that 702. And so every time I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking, what kind of structure is it going to do in here? And, predicting things on a super short time frame is very difficult. I don't think it's going to break out. But what I do think is there's a remote chance that we actually go back and stab the top again with kind of like a 5-wave structure to go slam back up near the top one more time, get it, maybe even poke through it slightly just to get people euphoric over what's going on with Bitcoin. But really, like the thing I imagine after studying just a bunch of structures of how these prices have behaved in here is that we actually end up doing something like that. And then that's it. That's done. Game over at that point. So that's kind of like what I'm watching for right now after spending really like the last 24 hours trying to figure out what do I think is going to happen here. Because if this was a standard, if we were already correcting in here, we should have actually started kind of down in here. The fact that it's holding up is looking very similar to kind of holdups and like this. And kind of imagining it being something like this, but not continuing after that, right? Where it's kind of like stalled out in here. It takes this last final stab and comes back, but it's, rather than continuing climbing, it actually pulls back down in here afterwards. And that's kind of what I'm watching right now. So hopefully there's like a little bit of excitement this week. It gives altcoins an opportunity to kind of push out a little bit for a correction to come into Bitcoin, and that the altcoins have more of a back test happening in an event of a pull down in Bitcoin rather than continuing to fall with Bitcoin. So we've seen some improvement over here in the altcoin market this morning. It was a little bit more red earlier this morning, but it's looking a little bit better right now. As for the stock market, I think the stock market's opening up a little bit mixed as well. Looks like it's opening up a little bit better than it was. It's opening up 57 points for the NASDAQ, right? 70 points for the NASDAQ, 8 points for the S&P, and 29 points over there for the Dow. So a little bit improved based on what pre-market was. Coinbase, Nvidia, and Tesla lead the way, with Google, Ford, and Caterpillar being the only ones in the red in this list, which is mostly, tech and Amazon and stuff like that. As for yields slightly up. Metals slightly down. DXY slightly down at 103.8. Take a peek over there. We've been watching the DXY for a long time. Still nothing exciting about it happening just yet. Where is gold? We'll move back to crypto here really quick. Bitcoin still underneath the 702. We'll go ahead and measure it. I think it's 12 days. 12 days and 6 hours right here, just waddling underneath the 702 while everybody is euphoric. Looking over there at Total 2 continues marching up as Ethereum continues marching up and clears above $3,000 and closes the week above $3,000, heading as high as 3,100, a little bit over 3,100, 3,130 on yesterday. So through 50%, we're getting much closer to the 618 retracements. Of course, very simple. It's third range boundaries. At third range boundaries, what do? I'm going to have to sell some of my Ethereum. I don't want to, because I'm actually way more bullish on Ethereum than I am on Bitcoin, but it's very simple. This is conceptually the things that we talked about through all of 2022 and 2023, when we never waffled or flip-flopped like a fish out of water, that this market would keep marching back up. It's about getting back to the retraces. Markets don't tend to go down in a straight line forever. They tend to retrace. They get back to the retraces. All decisions get made from there. Good luck to everybody who is jumping on the train late and saying it's definitely going to break through. I don't know that to be the case, so I have to take a little bit of profit here at the third range boundary retracement and pay myself for buying when everybody was screaming for lower. And that, of course, was the same case for Bitcoin over here. You get back to retracements. What are you going to do? Flip-flop like a fish and then buy it? Absolutely not. Be spicy, scream at them, tell them they're wrong, and then take it from them when they are ready to put their money back into the market. All right, there you go. Total 2 still continuing march. Others still continuing to march up in there after an ABC correction happening in here during the sign of strength phase. All as well as we continue on the week. Again, Ethereum, the big one, marching, continuing up in here. So one thing I may do, just out of to really spice up the universe, is I might take that Ethereum and jam it into XRP. All right, there you go. Dow, 39,195. Remember that 70, that 4.236 is, I know it's not 39,192. I think I must have adjusted this over the week. It's 39,207, I think, but we're just kind of waffling around up there as we start out the week. All right, moving on over to any type of, is there anything else? Oh, XRP, we'll talk about XRP. So XRP still just kind of stalls out here, waiting right in here. Of course, we've been looking for something to hold out in there. That was, let's see, was that the market cap? There we go. That's the market cap, right? So you can see XRP is just really dancing with it like it wants, like it's going to try to do it. I don't know. But look at there over here on the market cap. The market cap's still just definitely holding the level. The thing that will get me excited and riled up. So the thing that I'm looking for next is, now we have been holding here, right? The expectation was to get that pullback happening in there. Now we're just holding it. The thing that's going to get me real riled up and excited is if we can get back up, and that's going to be to like about 57 cents. And if we can get back up to 57 cents as we kind of meander out in here, this is where I'll be saying, hey, where's the magical unicorn fairy dust? Where's the puppet masters pulling puppet strings? Where's God? Where's the simulation to insert some type of catalyst news right there? So that's what we're kind of cheering for and waiting for. But first step, of course, get back up to the peak of that range right there, back to that B, right? A, B, C correction to get back to that B right in there at about 57. And then I'd expect it probably to kind of stall out there for just a minute. And then hopefully looking for the catalyst to come. But we have all the conditions met, right? We have euphoria over here in Bitcoin. We have euphoria throughout the crypto market. You have everybody cheering over there on Twitter about their various altcoins. These are all the elements perfect for really any altcoin to get steam, right? It is not the fundamentals of your coin that are making anything move up right now. It is the conditions of the market. It is people who are willing to absolutely act in extreme risk taking right now. So remember that, right? And at some point, the music will stop. I don't think the music's stopping yet. For Bitcoin, it's completely stalled. I fully believe that. But for the remainder of the market, that risk taking, that excitement, that as long as people, like, it's so good. Like the longer people are screaming at me that this thing is going to go to a new all-time high, you have to remember, what does that mean? It means people are not scared, not worried. They're willing to risk take. The animal spirits are here. Everybody's excited. Everybody's confident. They can put money into the market and there's no risk. They're not going to lose anything. And that's the exact elements you look for this the other aspect of the market to keep marching up. And we have that going on right now. So it's an exciting time. Without question, it's an exciting time. That's why your altcoins are pumping right now. If you have some that are pumping, not due to something special happening with that particular network, it's that it's time. And as you can see it here, right? If you own some random altcoin that's pumping, why is it pumping with Ethereum, right? It's because the whole market's going right now and we're in that exciting time. We haven't reached like the climatic moment of it all yet. We're just still continuing to go, right? We've gotten past the wall of worry. We've gotten through all the fear mongering down at the lows. Now we've reached the point where everybody's cocky and confident. And like you'll see over here, right? Bitcoin indicators suggest potential for a leverage washout. The amount of people who are long Bitcoin right now is like at every extreme high. So people are certainly confident right now, and that's great for the altcoin market. But okay, there you go. I think we covered all of the charts happening in there. Let's head on over to news that's going on today. Berkshire shares jump after big profit gain as Buffett conglomerate nears $1 trillion valuation. Berkshire operating earnings jumped 28% in fourth quarter. Cash pile surges to record. He's talking about with all this cash that they have, there's just nowhere to invest it. Wonder why. All right. Berkshire Hathaway ramps up buying in secret stock. What we know, pay us money, and then we'll tell you the secret stock that he's buying, that he's doing it very secretly. All right. Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly rival soars 32% after promising weight loss drug results. Tesla rival BYD launches electric supercar that could take on Ferrari. Stocks making the biggest moves pre-market. Domino's Pizza, Berkshire, Moderna, and more. All right, there you go. Bloomberg, what you got going on? Billionaire GOP donors pivot to Congress after Haley's run fades. Yeah, we don't talk about politics too much, and it's going to be a political year, so we're just going to try to skim over. We try to skim on Bloomberg. We try to skim over the politics, and we try to skim over all the war stuff. Berkshire inches toward $1 trillion valuation after results. Buffett says eye-popping results unlikely with record cash. Buffett endorses Japan trading firms in letter, boosting shares. Stocks take a breather at start of data-rich week. Goldman, Morgan Stanley backstop riskiest slices of CLOs. Jacob Rothschild, philanthropist and financier, dies at 87. Citigroup hires Visrago, from JP Morgan. Okay, all right. All right, moving over to crypto news. That's enough of that. Bitcoin mining difficulty skyrockets. New Satoshi emails revealed and more. Hodler's Digest. Yeah, that was funny. In the Satoshi emails, there was like 3 or 4 different references to Ripple in there. And how he liked Ripple. Crypto exchange Bitforex halts withdrawals, stops responding to users. Bitcoin price rejects at 53K as futures open interest hits a 2-year high. Bitcoin mining difficulty skyrockets. New Satoshi emails revealed. Why Solana will prevail despite Ethereum ETFs. One thing about Solana too is like Solana, even in if you checked out the developer report, and I'm not here to FUD any project, but I remember Kathy Wood in the hype of Solana mode like 2 months ago, and essentially everybody's trying to convince everybody else to buy Solana. And we know that's FTX's big, like one of FTX's biggest holding that they're selling. That when Cathie Wood came on and was like, yeah, follow the devs, right? And like you go to the developer report by Electric Capital, and like the number of devs for Solana is like dropping like a fly. I don't even know if that's a term. I think that is. And then if you look over there at Santiment, they've even fallen out of the top 20 for actual development activity. So number of developers and development activity. I don't know. I'm not buying the marketing push on Solana. Maybe it does, but development data says otherwise. Okay, weekend wrap. Tailwinds for Ethereum. Binance's $4.3 million plea deal approved. Privacy-focused Ilio users concerned after KYC documents leak. Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF records lowest outflows since conversion. Carson Group adds 4 Bitcoin ETFs to financial advisors. FTX settles dispute and sells European arm for $33 million. Bitcoin miner Riot says chip shortage, climate-focused regulations are risks to profit. So there you have it. That is your news. Did I get this one? Bitcoin indicator suggests potential for a leverage wipeout. Let me see if I can pull that up. Come on. There we go. Right, we talked about this last week, and it was always expected, right? The herd would become massively bullish back at the retracement levels, right? We get to the 618, you get the ETFs, you get to the 702, everybody's like, there's no way we're going down. It's absolutely impossible, right? But of course, what you can see is they've all leveraged long themselves. They've all gone leveraged long at the freaking retracement level. You can't believe it. Here you go. We talked about this last week. What did we pull up? We pulled up. I don't remember which one it was. CoinGlass, right? We pulled up CoinGlass. It was a Bitcoin open interest. Let's take a look at that too. Hold on. Right. So each time the open interest gets really high, we get a flush, right? So like the last big flush we had was back in August. You guys all remember that? It was like a 5-minute flush that ended up happening where open interest just got absolutely smashed out right back over here. That's represented also right here, right? And so as we go back to the 702 retracement, boom, we get way up, and you can see this is up here at the height of the market, as much open interest. It's like being at the peak of back in April of 2021 when Coinbase IPOs, and over here in the peak of November of 2021, the level of open interest that has happened here back at the 702 Fibonacci retracement. Where are you? Let's go in here. Bitcoin indicator suggests potential for a leverage washout. A key indicator based on Bitcoin futures and options suggests outsized levels of leverage in the market and the potential for a leverage flush out. Bitcoin is restricted to a narrow range in recent weeks, awaiting a breakout, which would also make a lot of sense too for something like this. Of course, that line is this is me goofing off in a previous discussion. That is absolutely not the case here. That, what you could do is you could even lure in more leverage, right? Like with something like this. And then boom, that actually really does become it. And then as we go back into our retracement over here, this is actually where we watch the altcoins go nuts, and things could come to a conclusion, and we could enter right back into another long period of a correcting market once again after something like that, once that retracement would come in over here. So right now, when it comes to the topping, this is really the thing I'm just kind of watching for. After we've spent already 12 days underneath here, this would make logical sense to me to happen because we are so short of it. Whether we just hit it right on the button or we just go a squeak above it and then pull back down. this is the thing to keep an eye on. So if this emerges in here just like this, we will talk about it again, whatever that is whether that's next week or not. To recall, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right back down into it. And this may be a little bit low. I'll put that more like right there, but pulling right back down into here after a 5. And then watching Euphoria. So keep an eye on Euphoria. We'll also watch leverage. We'll see if leverage picks up in there throughout the market. But this would be the typical end. So we'll see what happens in there. Back to the article that we were just reading right there. A Bitcoin indicator suggesting a buildup of speculative froth in the market, often a recipe for a leverage flush out and a sudden drop in price. The ratio between the implied yield basis or annualized spread between prices for 1 month futures and prices in spot markets and options induced 1 month implied or expected volatility has more than doubled to around 0.34 this year, according to data tracked by crypto structuring and trading solution firm STS Digital. When the implied yields basis is large relative to the underlying volatility, it can signify outsized levels of leverage and speculation. And it makes total sense that there would be a tremendous amount of leverage long positions in the market right now due to the level of emotions that are happening in the crypto market on people who believe that we are going up from here. It's no question. Nobody is shorting. Everybody is leverage longing here right now. Excess bullish speculation often leads to a leverage washout or forced closure of leverage positions due to margin shortage. The so-called long liquidations can end up fueling a sharp price slide. The market appears to be positioning for a move higher, which is all the more interesting when considering that the flows in spot have been leading the market post-ETF introduction and thus implying that the spread could tighten. Bitcoin has rallied nearly 22% to 51,500 this year, mainly on the back of strong uptake for US-based spot exchange-traded funds approved last month. Inflows, however, slowed last week, with 10 ETFs attracting just 500 Bitcoin on Wednesday. Okay. Well, then they go like the market. The market appears to be positioned for a move higher, but they're talking about leverage flushing. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Maybe they're talking about this thing right here. Maybe they're talking about that and then figuring out that whole reversal, right? So this is like in past, like, man, I remember in 2017, we'd get really, really sharp, clean reversals and clean turnarounds. But these have really been more of the kind that we've really had for the last several years, is that they're just a whole lot slower. And like we've talked about for a while, that the banks, JP Morgan distributing all their Bitcoin on you, they're not gonna do it in really quickly. They've probably been buying Bitcoin for years. They're spending a good spending a good amount of time distributing it over there to the ETFs. And it just makes sense. We're just keeping the price up here while retail is super, super bullish for it. So there you go. That's what I think we're looking at so far with Bitcoin, while we're still holding up in here some type of 5-wave structure, probably to go hit that 702 Fibonacci retracement level. So there you go. All right. Good news for the altcoin market, of course. Gold struggling this morning, down $7. And XRP trying to get itself reclaimed back. It did close the week above 54. But this morning, of course, we got quite a bit of red over here, but it looks like it's trying to come back once again. However, that market cap still has been holding in there. The thing we'd be looking for is 57 cents for XRP. Then it may be time to shine in a moment like this. And not to be mistaken with alt seasons, right? Most people, like, this is the truth, right? Most people don't recognize things are happening until you get very, very late in them. That's why people always say, what are you talking about? It's just starting. It's just beginning. That's also the mindset here with Bitcoin. I know it is not just a beginning, because I've had to come on here every day for a year and a half being like, no, we're not going to 12K. No, we're not going to 12K, being spicy backer for us to get all the way back up here. But the crowd has just been entirely inconsistent. The analysis has been entirely inconsistent, flip-flopping like a fish on whether or not we're going back down to the lows or not. That has never been the base case here. The base case has always been back to retracement levels. So once we finally get back to the retracement levels, the crowd gets in. So the crowd views it as, this is just the beginning. No, it took us a year and a half to get there. It was slow. It was terrible. You guys were complete jerks to me. Like the people who just flip-flopped, right? Like now it's like near the end of this, right? So like when the altcoin market gets moving, it will be perceived as, oh, this is just the beginning. And it's like, well, no, it's not just the beginning. It as well has been rallying up a lot. And you may not have noticed it, that others, the dominance of the entire altcoin market, excluding the top 10, has nearly doubled itself in dominance. The reversal of the market took place back in June of last year when I was talking about that the safety trade had come to a conclusion, which is why when you saw those things that I posted over there on Twitter, you see, wait a minute, how are all these altcoins outperforming Bitcoin? People always think they're real late. The whole crowd is always really late. And they will perceive it as the beginning when it is really actually the end. But so that's why when we're talking about stuff like this, like we're talking like timing is nearly impossible to predict, right? But like if you go based on historical precedent of how long alt seasons can last, I mean, it's not unreasonable to think 40 days, right? It's not unreasonable to think 30 or 50 days. But not a year or something like that, right? And I think 40 days or something like that to say, hey, sometime in April, we're all done. It could be. It could be. And so we're having to view it through that mindset. And I talk in this manner, and I'm pointing to all these things, not in the sense of being like, hey, we're all gonna die today. Just being really building that context of like, we know where we are. Like we're in a very peculiar environment. We're also in a very euphoric, exciting environment, but also looking at it from the lens of being like, this environment probably isn't going to last forever. It's very normal for people to get super excited and euphoric and crazy into this environment and think it's never coming down, get cocky and risk take, right? That's what you want. That's what you expect. You expect people to act euphoric and extreme risk taking into these types of moments. And for things like this to get big rises is, why would they buy it if they thought it was going to go down? Of course they think it's going to go up. That's why they're going to buy it. That's why they're going to chase it and keep on going. But we have to look at it from also through the lens of saying, we only usually get these types of big rallies, these big pumps at the end, right? It's not, and they don't last long. So the lens of 40, 50, 60 days, something like that, that could be all we have left. Crazy to think about. It really could be. So, all right, there you go. That's Bitcoin. You got green over here in the market. Near is leading the way up there, almost up 10% today. Of course, altcoins have been the story throughout all of Twitter. So there you go, Near. It's your turn. There you go. That'll do it for today. Let's take a look over there at the stock market. Dow up 108, back above. That's like a couple of ticks above the 4.236. NASDAQ still sitting right at it. And we have a little bit of a pullback over there in metals and a little pullback, slight pullback in the DXY. But that'll start us off for the week. Altcoins are the story. All right, we're hopping into the chat. That was a 30-minute ramble. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and you're off to a good start for your week. Aunt Krapik says, greetings from Dubai. I can finally catch a live stream. Blessed to have you as part of my daily routine, BCB, keeping us informed and emotionally sound. Thank you so much. And then Aunt Krapik did then gift a BCB membership. Thank you very much. Ali K says, my mom's cancer surgery was a success. Thank you for prayers. Boom. Man, I remember that. That super chat coming through. Congratulations on getting through the event horizon of what you were going through. Very, very emotionally tolling. Congratulations on getting to where you're at. George Alexanderopoulos, brother, the log-based fib, the halvings incoming, all the institutional money. People are out there in full effect. The top is near. Yeah, so when you're early, right? When you're early, it's when everybody's screaming Doomtown. That's when you're early. When everybody else around you is bullish, what usually happens? When everybody around you is bearish, what usually happens? When everybody around you is bullish, what usually happens, right? It's just funny. It's funny to go through. It's not really funny because going through what we have gone through for the last year and a half, all my comments, like all the negativity has been, we're not going up. We're not going back to retracements. And then when we get to retracements, it becomes, you know nothing. We're not stopping at retracements. And like I get painted as this giant bear, as if everybody had forgotten, wait a minute, we were rallying up the whole way. But fighting through this, it's also just an example for you guys who watch the channel. I'm always talking about emotional management and all that stuff. And you don't have to deal with the challenges that I do, right? Like, but showing you that, like, even when the crowd, I have every motive to just do what the crowd does, right? Like right now, all I have to do is go on here and just say Bitcoin's going up. Hey, everybody come buy my course. Hey, my newsletter, I'm writing all about how we're going to $1 million and you're all going to be filthy rich if you sign up for my newsletter. You know what I mean? Like there's all the monetization incentives for me to come on here and appease the crowd. But I go against it either way and just get lit on fire, right? But to show like the emotional management and you don't even have to deal with the things that I have, but to show that when you have conviction and you're looking at all those things, it doesn't matter. Still going with what everything says. One of those really big things too that is just super alarming about Bitcoin, not only being at the 702 retracement at the exact same time as the stock market indexes are at the 4.236 extension, is one, you're 75 days since the stock market has broken out into a new all-time high and Bitcoin hasn't followed. That's inconsistent with 2013, 2017, and 2021. Right? That's not consistent with any of them. Why? Because we're not seeing expansion in the stock market. Right? Those are big things. And you know what? I'm sticking to my guns. Absolutely. Because all the data suggests it. Right? So, yeah. But yeah, that's right. Log-based fibs. That's what we need to do. Don't use log-based fibs. It's moon boy math. Okay. George Alexanderopoulos, then, of course, he was just being a goofball, of course, gifted a BCB membership. Thank you, sir. P. Vincent gifted a BCB membership. Thank you so much. Matt K. gifted a BCB membership. You guys are crazy. Thank you very, very much. George Alexanderopoulos says, nobody's looking at the Flare market cap. It's way higher than price. Right. Yeah. So the Flare market cap has done like a 4.236 extension since it's been inception. And what you're seeing, like crowd euphoria over there on Twitter, those are things to just kind of be cautious about. I've seen lots of the same behavior. I'm buying. I'm looking at my Flare bag, right? Like I haven't touched it, right? Like it was airdropped and put it into the delegation, collect the delegation rewards or whatever. It's finally up, right? It's like finally done something, right? Like it's up like 3 or 4x, and now people want to buy it, and it's just like, that's crypto. Spags, what are your thoughts on Atom? I'm staking 140K at 16%, not asking for financial advice. Also, XRP Hedera to the moon. Well, first, don't say what amount of money you have. You make yourself a target, bro. With how much crypto you have. Now you're going to open your flood. People are going to try to befriend you and end up becoming scammers and send you a link. Hey, check out this cool thing. Like, I know we're research friends. Check out this cool link. As for Atom, right, we brought this one up last week, right? Atom is the exact same thing, and now it's up, right? What we talked about last week, same thing that's going on with the rest of the market. Like you just saw Uniswap go. The week prior, we saw VeChain. We're like, hey, look, Uniswap, it's the exact same thing. You find these exact same structures all over the place. Last week, being like, hey, look, Atom's one of them too. What do you know? Atom up about $1 since then as well. It's the same thing. It's Wyckoff accumulation. I put out a thread of back in, when did I put it out? June or July of last year, showing Wyckoff accumulation for a bunch of different assets. It included Chainlink, Atom, Bitcoin Cash, what other ones? SHIB, Cardano. I think there was 7 total ones in there that we had just sprung, right? And like almost the Atom is the only one that actually had one more leg down right here. Every one of them, that was their conclusion of their spring. But like 5 out of 7 of them have already gone. I think the only 2 that haven't yet has been Atom and SHIB. The other 5 of the 7 have all broken from their Wyckoff accumulations. In the spring marked the low on 6 out of 7. Atom was the only one that didn't. But it's just exactly the same for a Wyckoff break, a big old breakout. So I own Atom. Tino, what do you think is the agenda of MicroStrategy? Manipulating retail? I mean, whenever I have no idea what their agenda is, right? I can speculate just like anybody else. But why you have somebody who is the leader of the retail army, who is a billionaire, it's the opposite of what Bitcoin stands for. So it's very bizarre. The whole thing's very bizarre. And when Michael Saylor entered into the market, it was very bizarre for me too. We had just gone through the whole bear market, right? We had just gone through this whole thing. And then Michael Saylor shows up right here. And then he becomes the leader of Bitcoiners throughout all of this. And like they only nibbled at it here. Then they bought all their Bitcoin up here, right? Like he always references in his posts since MicroStrategy incorporated their Bitcoin strategy, where like this is an exaggerated number, but it's as if they bought 5 Bitcoin here and then bought 1 trillion Bitcoin. No, I'm just kidding. But it really is like insane. Like it's like a small, tiny amount here, and then they're all accumulated all throughout here. I don't know. I find it very weird. And what the thing is, MicroStrategy, right? They announced today they bought more Bitcoin. Also, they must not use 2FA over there on their Twitter because their Twitter got hacked last night. It's now promoting, unless it's been fixed. I haven't checked on it in the last couple hours. I haven't checked on it this morning. It was promoting some master token. That's a scam. So don't go to their MicroStrategy page and do that. But yeah, MicroStrategy not using 2FA on their Twitter and like one of the top holders of Bitcoin in the world. As for their agenda, I do not know. Also, one other thing, if you go back and like see, another thing that's just so bizarre about it is look at the number of Bitcoins they bought in here. And what's the dollar value of what they were buying, then go check those dollar values of those buys in here. We're talking like right here, it was 1 billion. There was one time where they made one purchase, like right at the Pico top for 1 billion. And that's where Michael Saylor's like, sell all your gold and buy Bitcoin. That was terrible. Then you go down and you look at these buys that all happen in here when they announce MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin. And all these little buys in here are for like 10 million. Still gives the ability to post the tweet and say, hey, we bought a bunch of Bitcoin, but their dollar values were so small. So it still had the same effect on retail to be like, hey, we bought Bitcoin, but 10 million over a billion. It was like these buys were all about 1% of the size of what they were up here. So it was like, it's real bizarre. Like MicroStrategy did not like load up on big buys at the bottom, but now as we're rising, they're back to the big buys again. It's something. It's something. I don't know. But I've been here long enough to like say, like, is my smell dar going off by it? It always has been going off by it. And it still does. What it is, I don't know. Dokansky, BCB, what sort of news narrative or simulation do you think would kick off the XRP price? Well, typically, catalysts would tend to be things that you can't see coming, right? Where a market hasn't priced in that particular catalyst, or at least it sets off a chain of extreme excitement. Otherwise, if we all kind of know what the catalyst is, then we kind of price it in and it's not a surprise. typically it tends to be some type of surprise. Whether that's Ripple says, hey, we've opened up a DAO and we've gone ahead and put in $100 million into the DAO for the community control for development of XRP, or whether it's like everything with the SEC gets completely squashed and like it's literally done. And then the SEC is like, we just love XRP. And like, we actually think it's the #1 asset in the world. And Gary Gensler apologizes and says, I've personally bought $1 million in XRP because it's 589ing to the moon. Like that would surprise the market a little bit. So like, it just, I don't know. I can't, it's very difficult to speculate on what narratives could be. Timing is like impossible to predict, and narratives, of course, are impossible to predict, but many times they tend to show up when they should. And if we get a proper setup of that similar situation, I would not be surprised for something to emerge in here once the price is ready. Like another way we just saw a narrative emerge and happen exactly at the right time was this. We're watching the box. We expected this to come back and backtest, right? How much time did we spend talking about that, right? You come back for these little backtests. Everybody's convinced that it is the true bottom, but it's not, right? Then there's one more flush. What do we have happen here, right? Narrative. Chris Larson gets hacked, $112 million stolen in XRP. The narrative just happened, and we didn't see that coming, right? None of us saw that narrative happening. Totally surprised. Market wasn't prepared for it, and people didn't know how to react to it, right? So there's certainly people who sold their XRP on that narrative scared. Insert some other weird narrative to show up right where it should. Like we all know that's what we all waited for. We'll watch all the videos. Like we said, the false bottom back test, and then this is the one where everybody gets washed out. Like we talked all about this. I showed examples of that on things like Bitcoin and Ethereum from the past, and how that's how bottoms tend to happen in here. And this is the one where people get washed out and actually scared. And you'd think to yourself, well, why would it, right? It's not like it's a bigger dip down, but you got a negative news narrative to come along with it. And that's just what tends to end up happening. And my thoughts are it's the same thing happening over here on Bitcoin, right? Like almost there, boom, one more little push, just like you have in here, boom, one more little push. Everybody's convinced, oh, we're good, we're gravy, we're going all the way. But it's the exact same thing that just continues to repetitively happen over and over and over again. But yeah, what could it be? No clue. Scorpion Ghost. Do you see a scenario where XRP doesn't break all-time high? Of course, we've seen it happen before, right? If we see the whole altcoin market running, and if you see all right, let's pretend there's this extreme volatility in here, okay? And you get something like this, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if XRP has not mooned into that, something like that right there, wherever it is wherever it is. Like we're coming up on it, like on the opportunities for it to happen, because we're not only getting to retrace levels for Bitcoin, we're not only getting to, and what are the other things we've seen? We've talked all about it. Like XRP only runs in one circumstance. Newsflash, nothing new to say here. It runs with the rest of the market, right? So we're entering into the phase right here where the market is running. It has to run right here. And if it's going to catch Ethereum, like the things we've always talked about, if it's going to run, it's got to run here. It's got to start its run all throughout in here if it's going to catch Ethereum, because the concept of it being able to even get here and how high it could go is simply catching Ethereum's market cap. Maybe it crosses above it just slightly. I don't think it's going to flip it indefinitely, but if it flipped it, it's like, that's always been a sell signal for XRP if it takes out the market cap of Ethereum. But right, you're getting up here with Ethereum. Where is that? That's that $9-10 area for XRP, right? So we're in the conditions like where things could happen. But if we get a big run up in the altcoin market cap and XRP just doesn't follow, dear God. what the heck is wrong with the thing? But right now, there's nothing suggesting not. And I do get it. It's lagged behind the rest of the market. And unfortunately, that is how it's always behaved. You go dig throughout history. We've shown it over and over and over again on when these things have actually ended up happening. And, right, I don't know if it's going to give me total 3. It's not going to give me total 3 here. Will you give me Bitcoin? Maybe, right? This example right here, look what Bitcoin does during all of this. No joke. You think you've experienced pain. This really happened, man. Where does the price of Bitcoin here? $1,732. Where XRP tops here in May. Goes from 1,732 to 16,500. This was brutality. And like, this is one of the most famous pumps. Like this is an epic pump. And of course, people point to it and stuff like that. But most people who are in the market, like who came in at late 2017, all looked at this one right in here just because of how glorious it looked. But something like this happened way late, right? Way late. It played a huge catch-up game. And what we just continuously don't see is we don't see what you get with Bitcoin. You get the stair step, like the beach ball getting held underneath water. So it's not acting like it yet. The thing that would certainly say, wait a minute, it is not acting appropriately, is if we got that and it didn't happen. Moon Barrel, getting toxic out there. See lots of attacking, whether right or wrong. Know that we appreciate your analysis and opinion. Yeah, I mean, people want to make a name for themselves, right? Their engagement stinks. So latch onto the blockchain backer, and it's all good. Luso, have you seen the clown that hides? I can't say that. I don't know what you're talking about. Doe, total 2 never deviated from Bitcoin structure before. You say Bitcoin will likely max at 702. Is it the case XRP can hit 7.9 consolidation market cap it needs? Well, what is your price XRP and total? What is going on here? Total 2 never deviated from Bitcoin structure before. And you say Bitcoin will likely max at 702. In that case, XRP can't hit $7 to $9 range considering market cap it needs. So what is your prediction on XRP in total 2? I think I just showed you total 2. I'm trying to comprehend what you're saying. It's never deviated from Bitcoin before. Total 2 never deviated from Bitcoin structure before. And you say Bitcoin will likely max 702. I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. First of all, here is this distribution phase, this whole thing, right? Imagine even if we're doing something like this, like if it is similar to that, just pretend it is, right? Pretend you're there and you're there, right? We'll take everything off the screen. Pretend you're distributing and you're there and there, right? What happens in that moment? Distribution, which could still continue, and the market still marches on. And that's not unusual. To do that in distribution after it's already gotten there, right? And I get it. I do get it. Like everybody runs on the same old models. I'm fully aware of it because I've practically taught everybody the models. That's the cold hard reality. I've put so much work out here and put all these models out there for all of you to see that everybody says, well, we have to follow those old models. The problem that nobody pays attention to is the expansion that happens over there in the stock market, and that we don't have expansion, and that Bitcoin is completely tied to the stock market. If you see expansion happening in the market, that's fine, but you don't. You have like 10 stocks holding up the whole stock market. And expansion's always been the mandatory element for Bitcoin. So for us to distribute below at the 702 retracements, fully possible, right? And that's my thesis. If I'm wrong, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, I'm long altcoins, right? And so that's the situation I'm in right now, right? Either I'm at the retracement levels expecting distribution and I'm long altcoins for distribution, or it goes up and the altcoins just go giga absolutely insane. Either way, I don't have to chase Bitcoin after I've already caught the entire move while people screamed and cried. Oh, it's up 7%. It was 200 from the lows. And even from here, right? Like if it goes up to the all-time highs, 32. Like I just don't care about 32%. It's just not, it's not in my care. So my scenarios that I'm playing the market as right now is that Bitcoin's distributing, and I have to be able to be very aware on if this thing pulls back and then there ends up being this additional leg up in the altcoin market that ends up happening while Bitcoin is still distributing, because I've got to be ready to pull the plug at that exact moment and say, hey, look, this thing's done. It's cooked, right? Stock market's way up there, right? Those indexes are way up there and we're distributing, and we just did exactly what we always do where we keep going with the altcoin market, right? Then it's like, all right, now it's getting out of the altcoin market, right? Sold my Bitcoin, right? I still have my Bitcoin from down here, but this stuff, all bought during FTX, everybody cried. I got out. I got out when they all came back. But if Bitcoin goes up, what do you think is going to happen to this thing? It's probably just going to absolutely skyrocket to oblivion. But if not, and not preparing and paying attention for distribution happening right in here, which still is the environment where this performs well, and not preparing for that, you just go pay for Discord sales groups, right? Like, go get wrecked, like that's the thing. So, where the market cap would have to go, obviously for XRP to get way up there, the market cap's going to have to climb very high. And whether or not that's going to be some bleed out in Ethereum happening in here, it's very possible. It's very possible that it happens with some bleed out for Ethereum happening right in here. But in order for that to get way up there, you just mathematically speaking, you're going to have to see a big push. And that's why we keep showing distribution structures like this. And that these style distributions in here can lead to that. But that could also be the end, right? And get stuck here for a long time and nothing ends up happening with the market after that. That you find yourself in a situation that you're kind of like right here, right? So it's definitely the altcoin market cap definitely has to do better than an actual retracement. If that's what your question is, it definitely has to do better than just a retracement for XRP to get to, like you said, $7 or $9. Sam Hallett, BCB, when you de-risk from ETH, we also be de-risking from assets in the ecosystem such as OP, ARB, or we expect those to continue to go? That's a good question. Right. So so one thing I'm having to process through my head right now too, like what I'm going into, right? Is these are all plans that have been going on for years, right? A lot of people flip flop a lot, right? And that they just jump in, jump out. They get scared of every news narrative. They get bullish on every news narrative, and their investment thesis changes like the winds. I've had this thesis for a long time that we get back into the retracement levels, and then I start de-risking down, getting 65% out of the market, right? And right now I'm at 20. But that's been my exit plan for a long time, right? But also having to think of, with that 35% that remains in the market, how do I want it to be in the market, right? Do I still want it to do I want to still just own 40 assets and it's just sprinkled out throughout the whole market? Right? It's unlikely that everything is going to survive. Right? It's just unlikely. And so where to keep it. Like even in an environment where I think the market is going to pull down, where do I want to keep it in? Ethereum's one of those ones I want to keep it in. Like I really do, just because it's the foundation of crypto. It really is the foundation of the crypto market. And I do understand there's a lot of people who hold on to resentments about Ethereum and ICOs and the SEC and stuff like that. But you have to look at the whole cryptocurrency market and stop. Like, I understand, but I've given this scenario too. Let's pretend that the government is secretly colluding for Ethereum to succeed. Why would you bet against that? Right. Why would you bet against that with your money? Even if you have that thesis of that being the case to end up happening. Hey, look at that. We got a lot of green. Look at that. There we go. We talked about it right at the beginning of the stream, and here we go right when the weeks, right as the markets get going. So like for when it comes to like long-term things and the 35% that still remains within the market, being in the Ethereum ecosystem is something I definitely want to have exposure in, because like I've shown, the market is incredibly built on Ethereum. Incredibly built on Ethereum, the whole thing. So that it's a tough one because I don't want to let go of those particular ones. But it just in order to mathematically reduce the exposure, it may have to be that some of them get slightly reduced, but I definitely don't want it to be. But it may have to be, just from the math perspective. Ashwin Sampit says, in March, the small banks will fall big time. It seems to line up perfectly. Enjoy the day. We'll see. We get lots of time predictions. Time is a difficult thing. La Ia Historiando. Boy, that was horrible. La Ia Historiandora. What's the XRP scenario in that Bitcoin moves? What? I think we've already covered XRP. Thank you very much. Trading Crypto UK. Hey, BCB, are you still watching the Bitcoin ETH stables dominance chart? If so, could you comment on what you see? Thanks. We haven't looked at it in a long time. Bitcoin.D plus F.D plus USDT.D plus USDC.D. So, just topped back in July, back in June and July, right? There you go, June. Just creeping. Just it's topped. That's it. And we continue to shuffle, waiting for a moment. So again, this was another thing to notice. This was the safety trade had concluded back in June of last year. So of course, here we are in February, 8 months ago. And that of course coincides with safety trade. Others, June. Dominance reclaimed by the other aspect of the market, which is everything outside of the top 10. Crypto Man X, thank you very much. Nazario Navarro, have you noticed that Bitcoin market cap broke above the 702, came back for a test and bounced? I have noticed that, but we haven't seen the price get above there. But it's definitely in the retracement zones. CP Nasty, Bitcoin is consolidating above the. Oh, we already got that one. Wait, was that same thing again? Bitcoin is consolidating above 72 on the market cap chart. Please recheck. Talk to me about DOT market cap chart. Assume you own it because the dev activity and beautiful chart. I did rotate from Tau. Good for you. I never had Tau. Let's take a look at DOT market cap. There you go. Yeah, we've shown this here. Bitcoin's above its 702 on its market cap. but not on its price. So again, and I know everybody wants to hear that Bitcoin's going to the moon. I do understand that. Everybody is leveraged long to the gills on Bitcoin at the 702 retracement level. All of your content creators are telling you it's going to the moon after flip-flopping like fishes for the last year and a half. Why? Ask yourself this. Why did the Dow break out 75 days ago and Bitcoin hasn't broken out? Ask yourself that. And then if your answer to that is it doesn't matter ETFs, it doesn't matter halving, it doesn't matter, then I'm certain you sold from FTX, you know? Right? Van says, hey, BCB, back with another Ethereum question. You mentioned you'll sell Ethereum at around 3,300. Are you still selling 60% of your ETH back? I never said 60% of my ETH back, right? During here, Ethereum was one of my top bags, and I sold 65% of my Ethereum here, and I actually ended up getting more and sold at the Pico top. I actually ended up selling 82.5% of my Ethereum between $3,000 to $5,000 for Ethereum. Then bought all the Ethereum back plus more right in here after the FTX collapse. So it's actually going to end up being 1/3 in here. And I did explain this last week in the math with that. Essentially, I'm going to pay myself back for all the buys in here because it's going to be up about 200%. Just from here to here, it's already at 190. It'd be nice if that was really my DCI. It's more like right in the middle. So, you know, if I can get up in here and get closer to this, getting rid of 1/3 pretty much pays me back for every dollar that I put in after the FTX collapse on Ethereum, writing the remaining 2/3 for free. Difference is with Ethereum is I actually, you know, due to the entire market practically being built on Ethereum, and the deflationary nature of it, I have to risk manage the third range boundary. It's like golden rule, got to do it. But it's one of those things where, you know, I'm willing to miss 13, 14% in here after taking 200. I'm willing to miss that to let the market prove what it's going to do beyond here. But Ethereum is actually one of those ones where I may let myself get stopped out, right, on that 1/3. And get stopped back in because I can create different scenarios for Ethereum. Whereas with Bitcoin, I just don't have the interest to let myself get stopped back in. And that's just simply a mathematical approach. Anybody who does the math on it should have like zero interest in Bitcoin. It's just math. There shouldn't be interest in there. And I've gone through with all my newsletters and we've gone through the numbers, everything with that. Go back and review. You're going to look back on the 2021 bull run of the crypto market with an entirely different eye. And once you see the percentages on Bitcoin and how the rest of the market behaved in there. So even if your thesis is go to moon Bitcoin, why would your thesis not be altcoin market? It's the cold hard reality. So even if Bitcoin breaks up to the upside, my thesis is altcoin market due to distribution. So in the end, if it breaks to the upside, it only benefits my bags even more. I just don't find it likely, and I'm watching from a distribution standpoint. And even if we are in distribution, we're just not at the phase yet that I'd even be looking for. That there would still be more to come for this market out of here. So, so as for Ethereum, I've created videos on this, right? And so I have to be real cautious that Ethereum's not actually doing its own thing, that the network effect is actually happening within the cryptocurrency market and that Ethereum is not on its own super cycle of its own and going to way higher prices. However, I have to respect the third range boundary. And the reality is most people want to be traders, but they don't ever respect rules. And this is just a rule that I have. We get back to the third range boundary. I've got to take some off the table. However, good probability if we get through, I'll let myself get stopped back in. I don't mind missing 13% after getting 200. to let the market prove what it's going to do from here first. Thank you, Van. David, hey BCB, did you catch the pump and dump on Coin this weekend? Yeah, that was wild. I went to sleep happy and I woke up with 50%. Yeah, don't play in that thing, man. I always call it the dingus coin. Crazy, right? It was the only one that kept pumping, and then 2 days knocked out 50%. And remember that about this market, right? That's the thing. Everything is sunshine and rainbows. Everything is dandy and wonderful. Boom, 50% gone. I didn't see anything about a catalyst out there on the internet anywhere. But that's how it goes in this. That's how it goes in this place. You like making 200% in a week. Prepare to lose 50% in 2 days. That's how this market works. JCR, hey man, long time. Still watching quietly since 2019 and newsletter sub since the beginning. Layer 2s have been relatively lackluster. 250% approach. Higher layer 2s do you favor in the coming? Wait. Layer 2s have been relatively lackluster. 250% approximately. What? 250% is better than the market. Approximately which layer 2s do you favor in the coming 30 to 60 days? I don't know if I have a preference on which one is going to perform better. Which one? So I own Matic, I own Arbitrum, I own Optimism. So it doesn't mean all of them will. Some of you guys are going to be in 3 years from right now saying, hey, what about Arbitrum? What about Arbitrum? I don't know, dude. Right? Do your own research. Cody, when will we see you at a crypto influencer boxing? Never. I did watch Ben's thing though. It was great. It was great. You know why it was great? Of course, you wonder if those things are going to end up being rigged or whatnot. But what you saw Ben come back, right? You saw him take a pretty big shot in the beginning, and then fight back. And then I think probably of all the reply boys, 99% of reply boys wouldn't step into the ring with that. Cold hard truth. The hot pockets and mom's wake up alarm clock from the basement. Those guys who reply. They're not. They would 99% of them would not step into a ring with that. So good for him. Mr. Nobody, hey BCB, what's going on? Your experience with retraces? Do coins typically hit 382 or 5 levels in wave 3 and then 618 or 702 in wave 5? Okay. Retraces are not typically denounced as a 5-wave structure, right? So let's pretend this is a retracement here, and that what you would have is you'd have an right, A, B, C, right? Your $1 million question becomes, what is this? And this is where wave counts are going to get all over the place everywhere for everybody. What is that? Right? Anybody know what structure that is? First one to get it wins a big you the man. Come on. Correction. Boom. Enrico. Yep. Flat. It's a flat, right? Running flat. Where do running flats show up in? What are the rules of where running flat can show up in? Right? Can it show up here? Can you have it show up there? You can't. It doesn't show up there. Right? Running flat can show up in either four or B. So, right. So your question is, where does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 come in a correction? You typically don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s on corrective waves. And like even in circumstances like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boy, that was sloppy. Oops. Five waves down. A little bit higher. ABC, right? I've seen these come in millions of places. We even had a really crappy one right here. But, a lot of times too, we actually see a wave come all the way up to 618. Then it can pull all the way back down below 382, for example. Like this. And then it comes all the way back up. And I'd like to say there's like consistency on where these things happen, but there's not. It could be all over the place. So I would not say there's a consistent number. OG Mac, if XRP hits an all-time high, would coins on the XRPL also hit all-time high? You would think they would, but we have no data, historical data to base that off of. So what are your thoughts on Jasmy by Big D? I don't know, man. We're already at an hour. We're not gonna. We can't do altcoins for $1.99 super chats. I appreciate the support, but we get that a lot. There's 3,000 people in here. People donate $1.99 and say, "Hey, pull up my altcoin." We're not gonna be able to do it today. BCB, the average caveman. BCB, I'm having a debate on DOT's full extension. I'm new at this and trying to see if the math is matching. Thanks for all you do. Hit the like. Thank you, average caveman. Having a debate on DOT's full extension. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll just have to see how the market reacts in regards to the altcoin market, and once it starts creating that structure, and if Bitcoin is if Bitcoin's distributing, right? If Bitcoin does what we talked about at the beginning of the video, right? This is kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to hit that 702, maybe even poke slightly above it, then looking for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back down. Then all the drawn outs of ABCs, ABCs, ABCs. And then if we go back into a retracement from here, and if you end up having, a clear 5-wave structure happening, and that, wherever they land is where they land. For me, before I'm at a point where it's like, okay, I'm now positioned where I have a 65% cash position. I've got 35% in crypto. I don't know what the heck's going to happen from here. It's all scary, right? Lord help us at that point, right? Chris and Alkmaar gifted a BCB membership. Thank you very, very much. Anthony, BCB, how are you? In the case of alts not popping off like you discussed, and a $3 to $4 XRP in the cards with regards to market I mean, that's mathematically, that's all within range. $3 to $4, yeah. Nahal says, could you please analyze Ethereum price target? We've already gone through Ethereum. I'd go back and rewatch. We already talked about Ethereum. I appreciate it though. Mr. Nobody, so the first profit take should be right before wave B pulls back, not wave 3 within wave C. Does wave B typically happen at a 236 fib level? No, it does not necessarily have to pull all the way back down to the 236, as if that's what your question is. Right, so within a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This is in a perfect world that is clean and easy to read, right? This is what a corrective wave would look like, right? In a perfect world. Many times you're not going to get it to look exactly like that, right? So like you can go back up here. This is your corrective wave, right? All right, even a little sloppy, right? Here's your A, B, C. So you don't get that far down, right? So I'd love to say it's perfect. And right, this is the altcoin market going nuts, right? All throughout here. All through Bitcoin's distribution in here. But it's not like it pulls back down to a perfect 236. LKNZ says, love your work, BCB. Could you please show the chart where altcoins coming into Bitcoin retracements of previous runs? Oh, here we go. We got it on here right here. Right. So this is the distribution phase of Bitcoin, right? And there's your distribution on Bitcoin as well, right? So Bitcoin's here, distribution begins, long distribution, altcoin does the opposite, right? Bitcoin essentially VKLM when moon. Thank you very much. And Pablo Esco, thank you very much. Boom, that's it, guys. We're at 1 hour and 17 minutes. We ran a little bit over. We're going to go ahead and start going through the wrap up. Before we get too repeaty, if you haven't checked it out, all my thoughts on a little pop-up happening here on how these distribution endings have happened here for Bitcoin. We are not surprised by this little move that's happening here because we talked about it right at the beginning of the stream. Trying to go for that 702 retracement still, and essentially watching for 5 waves to get us up there. So we'll check on it again tomorrow. Not a surprise to see it, and I would not be surprised if that little peak gets taken out there right there too, just because we have not quite hit it. Otherwise, guys, we'll check in on it again tomorrow. We got some green sprinkled throughout the market. We will take it. XRP back above 54. Keep an eye out for 57. That's where you'll get me really riled up and excited about things that could be coming, and then looking out for narratives to show up in there. Ethereum got yourself up there at over $3,100 this morning. As the altcoin market, of course, just continues ongoing. What an exciting time for the altcoin market. Because that's where I'm positioned. All right, there you go. There you have it, guys. We'll check in on it again tomorrow. Of course, if you're looking for something to do, check out bcbacker.com from over 40 videos and 11 hours of content from me. Check out my newsletter in here if you want to understand what's going on in markets. I've really done my best to paint the picture in here of the convergence between Bitcoin stocks and gold, outlining it. And of course, it always comes with audio voiceover recorders that I personally record. I hope that you guys have a absolutely fantastic day. Happy New Week. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one!